Many of us are familiar with a piece of propaganda from the 1930s entitled Reefer Madness. This film, showing a fictional depiction of the horrors of youth on marijuana, was a bigger part of a misinformation campaign that had a key role in influencing the decision to prohibit the use of cannabis nationwide as of 1937 in the US. Well, today I'd like to talk to you about a topic I'm referring to as reefer sadness. In 2012, Colorado and Washington State both made history by legalizing cannabis for recreational use by adults, paving the way for the now 18 states that allow recreational consumption of cannabis. This groundbreaking legislation meant that adults 21 and over could now purchase cannabis products legally, something that many of us thought we would never experience in this country. Legalizing cannabis created new jobs and a wealth of tax revenue for those states. It also created a legal paradox wherein people who were convicted of cannabis-related offenses have criminal records and/or are serving time for something that is now legal. I believe that if you support the legalization of cannabis federally, you cannot adequately do so without the expectation that record expungement be a pivotal part of that process. If we don't recognize that without expunging the records of cannabis offenses, we are excluding the very people who paved the way for a legal cannabis industry in the United States. I currently work at a production facility that makes cannabis-infused edibles, and per the laws in Washington State, my employer had to conduct a background check before hiring me. Now, to some, this may not stand out as odd. Many employers conduct background checks. It is a pretty common practice in the hiring process. But the significance of this within the cannabis industry is that I would not be able to work in this industry if I had a cannabis-related offense on my record. And how unfair is it to tell someone that they are not allowed to participate in the cannabis industry merely because they have a history of being involved with cannabis? According to a study featured in the American Journal of Drug and Alcohol Abuse, as of 2019, the process to get records updated in California requires an individual to hire a lawyer to get a possession record expunged, or a felony selling downgraded to a misdemeanor. But a bill introduced in the state Senate would automate this process. One way to fund this effort in California, as well as in other legalization states, would be to designate some of that tax revenue from retail cannabis sales for this purpose. I believe that automating the process of criminal record expungement would benefit everyone involved. Furthermore, I agree that it is only right that some of the taxes that the state stands to make from the sale of cannabis be allocated to undoing some of the harm caused by prohibition. The Last Prisoner Project is a nonprofit organization that strives to get people that have been convicted of cannabis-related offenses out of prison and/or expunge their records of those offenses. They believe, and I quote, that if anyone is able to profit and build wealth in the legal cannabis industry, those individuals must also work to release and rebuild the lives of those who have suffered from cannabis criminalization. They also work with legislators in hopes of creating more equitable policies for record expungement and resentencing. This is extremely important work, and I implore you all to investigate the work that they are doing across the country. If this is a cause that you care about, I ask that you get involved, whether it be by donating your money or your time, sharing a post on social media, or most importantly, voting for candidates dedicated to ending the criminalization of cannabis and repairing the toll that it has taken on the people.